Welcome to Z's and Threes. And it is nights like tonight. 8 games, and not a single one of them within a possession. One backdoors into clutch time, but essentially they are all blowouts. However, these things matter as we come down the stretch, and that's why Z's and Threes has got you to tell you why and how it all matters. Major news on a massive star name out indefinitely with blood clotting issues. Who and how long? And also NBA Europe. Are we a step closer to it finally happening? We break it all down. If you like the show, please do like and subscribe. Help us make the push to get to 100 plus subs before the end of the regular season. If you're listening on pod, give us 5 stars. Go over to YouTube and like and subscribe as well. Share with a friend. In either case, let's get you updated. Y'all already know. If we go to H-Town, we got a Chapman's group for the group chat game of the night. Hawks, Rockets. Playoff implications for both teams in this one. The Rockets looking to firm up control of the 2 seed post loss to the Denver Nuggets on Sunday evening, and they looked in firm control of this game, up 25 until a 27-8 Hawks run cuts their deficit to just 4 with 7:20 left in regulation. Plenty of time to go. Rockets push their lead back to 13. The Hawks cut it back to 3 with 14 seconds left after a crazy sequence of 2 made threes. We've seen Houston do this before. Atlanta forced a foul. Fred VanVleet makes both. The free throws put the lead back to 5. That would put this game on ice. Like I said, 8 games. This was the only one that went to clutch time, although it really wasn't that close of a game. Yeah, group chats weren't blowing up off of this one, unless you're a Rockets fan. And maybe they were, because your team is solidifying their spot in the 2. And the play of Jalen Green, the shooting guard for the Houston Rockets, continues to pace them and look really comfortable for the Rockets as their lead scorer. That is going to be huge for this Houston team as they enter the playoffs. Who will carry the scoring punch and burden night in, night out? 32 points for Green on 14 of 24 shooting. 1 of 7 from 3, however. It wasn't all rosy. 21, 4, and 3 for Fred VanVleet, who continues to reincorporate himself back into the fold. 2 double-doubles for players on the Hawks. Call him in and out. Ice Trae goes for 19 points, 12 assists. Onyeka Okongwu on the fantasy team. Let's go. 14 points and a league-high 15 rebounds. What does this result do for both? We will break it down once we get to standings. 7 more games to get to. We start with the best team in the league, the Oklahoma City Thunder, in Sacramento to take on the Kings. Kings fighting for play-in position. Thunder trying to keep distance between themselves and the Cavs for overall home court, where they face off in the finals. Still no J-Dub for the Thunder. Closer to a return, though, as he was listed as doubtful. They did get Chet Holmgren back after missing a game. Both are dealing with hip issues. Thunder looking for their league-leading 7th straight win. The Kings trying to snap a 3-game skid. Typical Oklahoma City fashion on the season, they start fast and do not look back. Would the result be the same? Well, the lead goes to 24. The Kings scrap back a 39-25 third period. 16 from Keegan Murray. So inconsistent it feels like Murray has been over the course of the season. It made it 89-81 hitting the 4th quarter. Oklahoma City puts it back in gear. 32-24 the final frame. It wraps things up 121-105. Another 30-plus point effort for SGA. Does he have, with Jokic sitting out, the MVP all but wrapped up his 45th 30 or more point scoring game on the season for the league's leading scorer. 32, 10 of 23 shooting, ethical enough, 9 of 10 free throw attempts. Double-double, 18 points, 10 rebounds for Chet Holmgren. Kings struggling, losers of 4 in a row. Next one's a handle your business games. It's against a playoff-capable team, against one that maybe isn't. Golden State Warriors, Miami Heat. The Warriors entered the night 6 of their 11 games left against teams with sub-500 records. 5 of those, however, are on the road, including this one in which the Heat did the honorable thing, took the high road, and rolled out the red carpet for Jimmy I'm okay being the bad guy, Butler III. It was from an interview he did with The Athletic. Not so welcoming were the Heat in the contest. Steph Curry sidelined after his hard fall Sunday in their last game out. The Heat 1-9 over their last 10. They play probably their best game since trading Jimmy Butler. Miami leads from tip to horn, 112-86, 27 points, 8 rebounds for Bam Paid Adebayo. Talk about that a little bit later. 20 from Tyler Hero. They stifled the Warriors' offense. The Dubs 39.8% shooting, 9 of 38, 23.7% from 3. Butler 11.6 rebounds, 2 assists. The Warriors do not handle their business. Bad loss. How will that affect their playoff seeding? Dallas Mavericks, New York Knicks. Mavs proceeding cautiously with Anthony Davis not playing in the back-to-back across the Brooklyn Bridge after returning Monday night in their game against the Nets. 8 lead changes, 12 ties. All of them happened in the first half as the Knicks took over from there. A 30-16 third quarter in their favor proved to be the difference. 2 Knicks registered triple-doubles, and it was a historic night for one. Karl Anthony Towns had 26, 12, and 11. Josh Hart had 16, 12, and 11, the 9th triple-double of the season for Hart that sets the Knicks single-season record, passing Clyde Frazier. Pretty cool afterwards. Josh Hart, not taking the game ball, gives it to Kevin McCullough Jr., who I covered earlier this year, playing for the Knicks G League squad. So going up, the two-way guy who got his first NBA points tonight. Game high, points-wise, from OG Anunoby in the Knicks win. Knicks handle their business. San Antonio Spurs, Detroit Pistons. Could the Pistons handle their business? Check this out for Detroit. You know I've been flying the flag for the Pistons the whole year. And that is because they are in the midst of the 6th largest single-season turnaround in NBA history. The only teams that have done better, the 07-08 Celtics that added Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen, the 97-98 Spurs that drafted Tim Duncan, the 89 and 90 Spurs that drafted David Robinson, the 05 Suns who signed Steve Nash, and the 79-80 Celtics that drafted Larry Bird. The common denominator for all of those 5 teams, they added Hall of Famers. The Pistons, well, in the offseason, they added Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and J.B. Bickerstaff. No shade to any of those players or J.B. Bickerstaff, who was my vote for Coach of the Year. But what a turnaround it has been for a Detroit team that was terrible last year. They handled their business tonight. They led for most of the contest, finished 122-96 over the San Antonio Spurs, who went over 10 minutes without a made field goal. What did Cade Cunningham do? Well, he didn't play. Missed his second consecutive with a calf issue. Marcus Sasser picked up the slack, played another great game, 27 points on 9 of 12 shooting, 6 Pistons in double figures. Orlando Magic, Charlotte Hornets, who handles their business? Is it the Magic looking for their 3rd consecutive? Best they can do at this point, 3rd consecutive win. Best they can do at this point seems to be taking over the Hawks for the 7th seed. The top 6 are out of reach. They open a large lead of 13 in the second quarter. Hornets buzz back in the third to go up 7, but a 21-9 Orlando run swings it back. The Magic hold on. 111-104. Another big night for Franz Bank. Yes, that is my nickname right here. Z's and threes, we're calling him Franz Bank. 26-8-4 from Franz Wagner, and a game-high 32.7 rebounds, 6 assists from Paolo Banchero. Memphis, Utah, Grizzlies looking to handle their business. A 3-game losing streak, 5-5 over their last 10. It slid them from 2nd to 5th in the West, but still plenty of games to make up the ground. Playing the Jazz, well, that is a welcome opportunity to stop the slide. Ja Morant missing his 5th straight with a hamstring issue. Grizzlies' season has been for a considerable portion without Ja Morant, just 43 games played on the season. Jazz commandeer a 14-point lead in the first half. It was trimmed to just 1 at the break. not big enough for a wild lead swing alert because the Grizzlies wake up from their hibernation in the second half. They score 41 points, hold the Jazz to just 17 in the third, then 35-21 in the fourth. They handle their business 140-103. 6 Grizzlies with 15 or more points led by Desmond Bane's 21. Memphis Grizzlies, they have 7 of their 10 remaining games against teams with records above 500. That's why it's crucial to win the ones like this. What do we make of these Memphis Grizzlies? Could find themselves as high as the 3. I don't know if they could still catch Houston. Too many games back at this point, but it is possible. Best thing about this matchup tonight, go check out the highlights as the uniform matchup was so clean. Chef's kiss. All right, let's stay in the Northwest Division and go all the way up to the Pacific Northwest. Cleveland Cavaliers, East Best, taking on the Blazers. Blazers trying to keep their hope that they can snare a play-in spot. It would be mega given their start of the season and how bad they were. They have been one of the best defensive teams over the last 30 or so games. Schedule's favorable for the Blazers. 6 games left against sub-500 teams. Just 4 games against teams above 500. This one would be tough. No Donovan Mitchell, though, for the Cavs. A groin issue was the reason given. Cavs led 32-86, hitting the fourth. The biggest lead had been 11, so a competitive game up until that point, but Cleveland turns the fourth with a 14-4 run that gives them the breathing room to close this thing out. 122-111. Game high 27 for Darius Garland, 21, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks for Evan Mobley. I think come end of year, if there will be one Cavs player that gets decorated with an All-NBA, it is Evan Mobley that is most deserving. That was One Take Jake on 7 games. That's pretty good from your boy. Let's update the standings after those 8 played. Houston win puts them 2 games up on the Nuggets. Still one head-to-head, though, left between the two. The Memphis win jumps them over the Lakers. The Lakers down bad right now. 3-7 over their last 10, including losses in their last 3 in a row. Golden State Warriors, they are clinging to that 6th spot, the final guaranteed playoff spot. You don't have to work your way out of the play-in. That's where the Warriors have found themselves the last 2 years. Clippers and Wolves, both a half game behind the Warriors for the 6th. Sacramento's loss evens them with Phoenix, both teams 35-37. Dallas is on the outside looking in by half a game. Portland's loss places them 3.5 out of the play-in, so getting tough for the Blazers. East, it is essentially decided as to who. We know the 10 teams. It will just be a matter of who plays whom. The Pistons win has them now lockstep with the Bucks in the 5-6 battle. Both are 2 games behind the Pacers, so within striking distance, but major news for the Bucks. We will get to that. The play-in, those 4 teams are locked in. The Hawks will play the Magic, and the Bulls will play the Heat. That is not definitive as of now, but it is looking very much that way. The determinants will be who hosts the games based on who is the higher seed. With the Hawks loss and the Magic win, they are now just a half game apart for the 7-8. And Bulls Heat in the 9-10, a full game apart with the Heat bringing up the caboose in the East. Heavy pour leading score of the night presented by Portland Water. Check them out, drinkpdxwater.com. We haven't had anybody drop a 50 ball, so we haven't cracked a can in a long time. Somebody score some points. Najee Marshall, welcome to the Heavy Pour Club, a new name. He had 38 in his team's loss in New York. Dunk of the night. Man, this man was putting on a dunk contest, a baseline spin to his left. And the jam, it looks so pretty from Jalen Green. Green had 3 of the top 4 dunk scores registered across the NBA this season, part of his 32-point night. And performance of the night, well, tip of the cap to Josh Hart, breaking the Knicks single-season triple-double record. Triple-double still, to me, it's so arbitrary. Why do we just getting into double digits make everything so significant? But, hey, still Pretty cool. It signifies that you played a good game. He continues to be the utility man for the New York Knicks that they need if they want to be successful come playoffs. Pretty substantial news day before we get to it all. If you like the show, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, if I keep you up to speed, please do like, subscribe, help us get to 100 plus before the conclusion of the regular season. Another star, another blood clot issue. Have been hearing more and more of these reported as putting players on the sideline. Word coming out early evening that Damian Lillard, same injury that sidelined Victor Wembanyama for the remainder of the year. Deep vein thrombosis is the diagnosis, aka a blood clot for Dame. It is in his right calf. It had been a calf injury that has kept him out of the last 3 Bucks games. Their general manager, John Horst, said, quote, "We are thankful that this was identified and medicated quickly, which helps with the recovery," end quote. No timeline has been given for a return as of now. It is indefinite. So hate to see this, hear this, and hope that Damian Lillard is back on the court sooner rather than later, especially for the Bucks come playoff time. But first and foremost, the health of Damian Lillard. Let's talk cash, because get ready for the first $100 million NBA player. We're getting there. And how do we get closer? Well, the salary cap will be increasing by 10% next season. That is the max allowed. Remember the term cap smoothing? That was the term that came into the lexicon to avoid massive cap jumps like the one that we saw that allowed the Warriors to sign Kevin Durant when that TV deal kicked in. So with the new TV deal, remember that TNT and Turner is going away. NBC and Amazon are now where you will be able to watch NBA games come next season. So the numbers being released and aligning with the projections given to teams last June, it will be a projected cap of $154.6 million, a tax line of $187.9 million, first apron of $195.9, and a second of $207.8. Teams that stay below that tax line, well, they will receive a 11.5, million distribution from the 10 current tax-paying teams. The reporting from ESPN's Bobby Marks, that's where all the numbers came from. I went and I looked up top 10 players in average annual value salary, because that is how we will get to eventually a player that is making $100 million. As I said, the max allowed for the cap increase, so the cap is going to continue to jump to meet the revenue coming in through the new TV deal. So you would expect another big bump the year after. So players that will be signing deals down the line. Top 10 right now, just for frame of reference: Joel Embiid, 64 mil. Jason Tatum, 62 mil. Steph Curry, 62 mil. Giannis, 58 million. Anthony Davis, 58. Jaylen Brown, 57. Damian Lillard, 56. Jimmy Butler, 55. Nikola Jokic, 55. And rounding out the top 10, surprisingly enough, making just as much money as Nikola Jokic, Bam Adebayo, 55 mil. Hey, I'm not hating. Get your money. Supermax moving forward for players that qualify, worth up to 35% of a team's salary cap. Finally, NBA owners to decide on heading to Europe. A potential European league. We've talked about it. We've heard about it. We saw the NBA playing in Paris earlier this season with the Spurs when Victor Wembanyama was still playing over there for 2. Pro basketball in Europe with an NBA affiliation. 8 to 10 franchises, up to 4 spots for the best teams currently in the Euro League. So think Real Madrid, Olympiacos in both Spain and Greece, respectively, the names that we have heard. The breakdown would be 50% owned by the NBA and 50% by the franchise owners. It is an identical equity structure to the WNBA's prior to the opening to outside capital in 2022 in the WNBA. NBA would be looking to partner with sovereign wealth funds, private capital, and wealthy individuals. Those are all up for consideration. A franchise price in a premier market, so think London or Paris, $500 million. Pretty good bargain when you think about the Celtics that just sold for $6 billion, $6.4 billion. NBA, in their global efforts, they have played 40 regular season games in their history outside of the U.S. and Canada. Started in the 90s, surprisingly enough, in Japan. From there, have been to Mexico, Great Britain, and France. They did not play in Europe, actually, until 2011 in London. They've played 5 games in France. Surprising given the proliferation of European, specifically, players, international players as well. Here's some numbers for you. 125 foreign-born players on NBA rosters at the start of this season. It was the highest in league history. 62 of those were from Europe. We saw what a time it was in Paris for the Olympics, and what a game that both Serbia, led by Nikola Jokic, with a couple of NBA players on there, and France game to Team USA, with Team USA eventually prevailing to win the gold medal. Past 6 NBA MVPs have been non-American. Prior to that, all of the years in the NBA combined, just 4. The reporting for this story, all from Sportico. House shoes, Shadow ones today. Well worn. You see, look at those creases. Look at the leather. That's how you're supposed to do it, Jordan Brand. Real leather. Doesn't smell like gasoline. Let's revisit what we just talked about, because that was news, and now I'm going to give you some opinion as to the NBA needing to officially go global. Does it need to happen? From Z's and threes, an emphatic yes. The game is far too international now. I gave you the statistics. 125 foreign-born players, 62 from Europe, past 6 MVPs, non-American. This year's MVP, whether it be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Nikola Jokic, non-American. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is Canadian. We do have one franchise in Canada. We had 2 at one point, Vancouver. It is time to expand, and outside of that, it is also time to incorporate, to make the true world champion representative of the global nature of the game. I have rallied and talked so much in this space here in House Shoes about needing to break up the monotony of the season across 82 games. It's going away with conference structures. It's playing a different season structure that incorporates an NBA Cup, that incorporates other aspects. And this is one of the ways to do it. Teams can go travel and do a European swing in which they play teams in Paris, London. Luka Doncic gets to play in Slovenia. Nikola Jokic gets to play in Serbia. Giannis Antetokounmpo, a.k.a. the Greek Freak, gets to play in Greece. How lit of an environment would that be? We've all seen it out on social media, how crazy European environments can get. And for a season that can just drudge on, man, here is a golden opportunity to both expand and incorporate. There are so many positives to this. The presence has always been in Europe. It's always been a matter of economics and the NBA being able to throw its brand heft around accordingly. There's already pro basketball that is played in Europe. It's just a matter of, can it be played in conjunction with the NBA? And now it seems as if the parameters of partnership have been ironed out. So let's get to it and celebrate the global nature of our game. I want to see the NBA truly crowning a world champion in years to come. What to watch Wednesday night in the association? 6 games coming at you. Lakers, Pacers. Indy, 5 straight wins. Lakers, 3 straight losses. Yesterday's episode, I asked, are the Lakers potentially better without LeBron James? And a lot of you commented and told me, yes, they are. Interesting. Clippers, Knicks. LA needs the game more than New York, but you know Thibs don't play. Starters going to probably play like it's a game 7. Milwaukee, Denver. Does Nikola Jokic return? How did the Bucks look given the Dame news? In Boston, Phoenix, can KD continue his hot streak, powering his team to 4 in a row? Do we see Jason Tatum potentially suit up? If you miss any of those, as always, Z's and threes, we got you. All that we ask is that you like, subscribe, do what it says, make the bucket, help us get to 100 subs before the end of the regular season. We will see you back here tomorrow. Peace.